How are you?
Good. Good. Let's start it off. Hello. It's been a minute. John Sentez, Alex Rojas, we come together to form the Let's Win a Ball Game podcast. I hope my audio's good. We're both having technical difficulties this morning, as normally I do not. Normally things go smooth, but I don't feel like it has been as of recent. So,
Oh God, we dropped an AirPod. We're here. We're back. Sorry. I
yes,
love how it
dude.
just like once the other AirPod goes out, like all sound just ceases to exist.
Yeah, right. Right.
It's,
That's why I had to take the AirPods and put them away. I'm like, this is going to create a problem here.
uh,
Anyway, hi, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's 20 degrees cooler here than it was yesterday, so
Ew.
that's a little bit different. But outside of that, honestly, I wish I was playing baseball. It's very nice weather lately.
Ooh, good outdoor day, huh?
Hmm.
Nice.
How about you guys?
Nice. It was nice this morning. It was like 80 degrees. Or not 80 degrees. What, it was like 50 this morning when we woke up. Where I'm more inland than I am where the shop is, and we're on the side of this hill, so we get like a nice cold air as it goes down. So anyway, um, well, dude, we're at that time of year. It's April. You know, we're in the middle of baseball season for
Right in the
most of the
middle.
kids, right? Um, how do you feel like the performance is going on the side for your guys?
Well, I mean, we have we have a top 25 team that trains at our facility for the most part. A bunch of the guys from Granada High School, they are 16-1. They just lost their first game on Wednesday, but they get to go play those guys on Friday. I mean, who gives a shit about their national ranking? Honestly, you got to win league and then you got to win section, right?
Hmm.
But they are nationally ranked because they have a lot of guys that are individually quite gifted, and other teams have recognized that, like the Stanford player that we have and the University of Oregon player that we have. And those aren't just like the guys that are only contributing. There are other guys that are pretty good. We've got like, I say we, like I'm a part of the team, but they have like 6 or 7 guys that are products of TPC that or have trained there in the past that are all throwing 85 plus miles an hour. So much so that they have 2 guys that are on JV throwing 85 to like 88. So sorry for all you sophomores down there that have to deal with that. And they're angry because they're like not on varsity, right? So you got to deal with that as well. But from a hitting standpoint, I think things are going good. Honestly, I am really impressed with watching, I think, the maturity of some of our younger players as they are starting to get into the, as I and you and I call it, big boy territory, where it's like, hey, man, you are playing like a high schooler and you're 13. Or, hey, you're playing like you're ready to play Babe Ruth and you're 11, right? You're playing like a 13-year-old. So that mid-season form has gotten some kids to believe in themselves quite a bit because they've gotten a chance to like really go out and like let's see what all this training is about. And now they're coming in. Here's a great story. Okay, this is a fun story. You'll love this. So we have 2 savage brothers, and I talk about them all the time, Braden and Zach Hine, right? Older brother, Braden, he's hitting the ball almost 90 miles an hour. He's not even a freshman yet. He's in 8th grade, right? With a wood bat, right? And he bet his brother, he said, I bet I can hit 90 before you hit 70 in April. Little brother's topping out like 67 and not with a wood bat. He can hit like 63 with his wood bat, right? And so he goes, bet $20. So the last 2 weeks have just been like, these guys have been coming in just like really swinging hard. And a lot of them having game experience and then coming back in has helped them progress because they can communicate. This is what happened in the first at bat. I made this adjustment, and then this is what I felt that was positive about it. I'm like, awesome. And so we're training that. Like, let's train that adjustment for a little bit. Then they go back out, and they're like, so this is what happened. This is what happened because I did that. And they're like, awesome. Let's do it again. Kind of the stuff that you and I talk about all the time. Like, let's get game experience. Little brother won the bet. He hit 70 before older brother hit 90. but it was a really good moment to show those are two guys that have really been committed to training with us, and now they're getting to the point where they're just pushing each other. They're just pushing each other. They're just like shoving each other, like, "What you got, dude? I got that. What you got, dude?" And it's like what you do with your advanced BP. I can have an 18-year-old train with a 14-year-old, and they're both getting great quality work in. And so to speak, Braden hits with the kid who's going to Stanford. So that's kind of like the kid that he looks up to, and he gets to look at that kid. Like, just shout out to Parker because dude's awesome to watch hit. Sometimes he'll hit, a ball like 400 feet in batting practice, and Braden will just drop his bat and just be like, "What am I doing? Like, what am I doing? Like, how do I do that?" I'm like, "Just keep showing up, dude. Like, you're just keep showing up." So we're
Just keep
very
showing up.
satisfied here. I think things are going great. And this is a non-TPC product. Matt Rose's daughter, who is in your neck of the woods down in University of San Diego, she is approaching top 5 historical records in saves for all time, wins, appearances, strikeouts, and innings,
Oh my
all for
God.
USD softball. Yeah,
Wow.
dude, she
Wow.
has had quite the career down there. So Courtney
She's
Rose,
kind of good.
she's
She's kind of
you
good,
know,
kids.
if you play a lot, you're not bad. So shout out to Courtney Rose, and then shout out to Matt Rose. Anybody that says that that guy doesn't know what he's talking about, it's like literally his daughter. Again, he didn't pitch everything for his daughter, but like he
Hmm.
gave a lot of information to his daughter, and then his daughter has used it for herself and is now, an all-time great where she has played, which is kind of what we all want. So,
Right.
how
Right.
about you, man? How are things going for you mid-season?
Going good. I would say that we've got a lot of our pro guys that are either in extended or starting AAA. Brandy actually throws today. He was supposed to throw yesterday, but his we got rained out in Louisville. So and then let's see, Garrett's in extended. Odell's doing well. Keone's doing well. Berto, like all of the grinders, all of the morning grinders, like they're all. I feel like with all of the training that we did and all of the sparring that we did, the process of helping them become more skillful in the fighting competition aspect is
Mm-hmm.
probably the best thing that we did. So being able to uh, help them feel more real is something. Even we still have a couple guys that are getting ready to leave for Pioneer League, and them fighting then trying to show the comparison of like, look, your plyo ball, your front toss, your machine middle, like none of that's real. So like it should prepare you and put you in timing and things for your process so you can compete without thinking, and and the process of the process of moving through your skill to understand the level that you are at, if you belong there or not, right? The imposter situation, that is probably one of the most underrated, things about a showcase. Showcases are bad. Yeah. Well, I do remember seeing some dude throw way harder than I was at the same age that I was. And that is impactful, I think. And putting all the racehorses on the course and trying to look around and find out, who's the best. It's something that
Mm-hmm.
I did. I remember being in the Valley one year, and I remember going in there and looking around at all the pitchers and seeing everybody's the same height and everybody's kind of long and looks strong. And
Yep.
you go to that first day of catch play, and we're sitting there at I remember our pitching coach was this jacked guy. He couldn't throw at all, which was just like, what happening? And he was like a pitching coach, so it was just weird that he was like jacked. He couldn't throw, but he was our pitching coach. And I remember he just asked the question, like, who's the guy? And so everybody looked around, and one of the kids said, what does that mean? And then I just blurted out, I was like, who throws the hardest? And everybody started looking around. It was pretty fun. Yeah. Everybody started like, ooh, who does throw the hardest?
Who
So when we
strikes
did
the
catch play,
most people out?
right. Dude, I remember going into catch play, and then guys started throwing bullpens on that first day. And I remember everybody was just blowing cheese. I was like, I feel like we're going to be okay. I feel like we're going to be not bad. And
Mhm.
nope, that was the opposite. We were terrible. Couldn't score a run. We could not score a run or hold a
It's
lead to save our lives,
important. Very
which is
critical.
something that every baseball player experiences. That's what's so hard to explain to some of the parents on these kids that are coming up. Like, you're not playing the version of the game yet that is actually difficult. And this version is very difficult. So
The
it's
process is difficult. The game isn't
right.
difficult.
I had every pitch that I didn't post that I showed a parent because they were asking about, like, well, his ball looks like it kind of like he looks like his fastball is a curveball. And I was like, well, that's not really how it works. And he's 11. So, like, his ball's going to have a little bit of a drop to it. And so he just was uneducated about spin rate in the process. So we started talking about spin rate, and I started explaining um, extension, release height, spin axis, force. I think there's a vapor
Did that person
trail.
understand any of the things that you were now saying?
When I said it simply, yeah, but also, like, with the video of me throwing, I can be like, look, he's 5 foot. I am 6'4".
6'4".
My release height is 7'5". My
Yeah,
extension is 8 foot.
yeah,
And he's like, oh. And so, like, I took a iPad and, like, drew a mound, and
yeah.
then I was like, angle to the plate, and I'm like, I'm up
Hmm.
here and over here, and it's going like that.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh my goodness. Um, so it's been a process just to it's always going to be an educational process for everybody that's coming up. And I
Yeah.
think that's why you and I do this podcast. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Hey, shout out to Nexus Mount that just jumped in. Love the little small business here. Hey, hold on,
What do
let
they
me do a
do?
little plug for them.
What's their
Oh,
deal?
you'll love it. Okay, check it out. All metal game changer pocket radar phone with the sun
Okay.
shield,
That's
and
pretty
it's
sick.
metal, so you can put it on the chain link, and it's stable.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah,
Okay.
great product here.
All right.
Great.
I'm gonna have to send that to a couple people that I know are game changer people.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah.
actually very tough.
It's
Now,
it's and it comes with, like, extras and stuff, and you can position it any way you want,
have you
whatever.
seen
But,
it
like,
get smoked yet? And
yeah,
then what happens?
yeah, they actually had a video talking about this crossbar. Originally, there was no gap here, and I was thinking about the same thing. But this is just less wide than a baseball, so even if it gets smoked, it's not going to penetrate. So, like,
I'm
we
not
put
even
it
worried
on net.
about that. Is it gonna like
No,
fall
no,
off the
no,
fence?
because these pieces are metal right here. The
Mm.
hooks are metal,
And
so it's like
we're
once you
hooked
get
in.
into it and you go up and down, it's not going anywhere.
That's cool. Okay,
Yeah.
pretty sweet.
Yeah,
I
shout out
like that a lot.
Nexus Mount. They sent us a couple of those, and beautiful, great. I love a great design product. So outstanding. They got another one that's like a mini. I think we got it around here, but we it our net is wrong because it sways too much. But it was cool because I was able to, like, hang it in the hang one of our bat phones in the umpire cam when we were doing over the shoulder from the catcher, so you can see from
Hmm.
the hitter's point of view from there. And
That's pretty sweet, man.
that was a nice little idea from them. So
I like that quite a bit. Game Changer's been huge for me watching the high school guys that we have, and um, I personally think every league or every team, you need to have a game changer person because there's a lot of people that you don't know that want to watch your video feeds that are responsible for the next level of your player's commitment.
right, exactly.
And
And then
like that
also,
game changer feed's
if
huge.
I could go further on that, if you are going to do the game changer, it's really not that hard to do the pocket radar, do the process. Um,
I don't
sorry, sorry, just got a weird text. Um, if you get the pocket radar and you connect it with your game changer account, and then you don't want to do the GoPro because you can't zoom, and even a little iPhone 13 like we got right here,
right.
it was when we put it in the Mexus now, you can actually pinch zoom in,
That's sick.
which would give you your best results. And so, like that, parents, trust me when I tell you this. When you do the wide angle to show the runners on base, nobody cares. Nobody
I hate
cares.
it.
The
No one
the
cares.
closer angle to show the pitch shape, to show the swing, please, for sure, more important than seeing that. And then Game Changer does have a connection where it can do multicam, so you could have like another camera pointed at first and third, and now it does some kind of cool little three angle thing. But also, once again, we can see up in the HUD who's on first. Doesn't matter. We don't need to
Mm-hmm.
see the guy, you know. Um, and so, it's a beautiful piece of software that does some stuff. They even have some with our organization. We are I got to get a pocket. You just reminded me right now. I need to get a pocket radar. Um, but it helps me too. I have mission control at home. We're playing in a PG this weekend up in Temecula, and I get to take a couple iPads home and watch the streams as these kids play the game. And then, I tell the kids, send me your highlights so we can talk about it. So there's a review and process that just helps, you get into where you're trying to be.
And I think your game changer concept of like preaching to the parents of like what we're actually looking at is really important. Like, I don't care about who is on base. Yeah, you can tell me, but like I don't need to focus on watching them run. I need to see like what is he throwing because there's a guy on second
Right.
base. I don't need to actually see the guy on second base. So it goes deeper to like with what you were explaining to that parent, which is so funny that we still have to explain certain things like that. But
Well, I disagree. I don't think it's funny. I think I've been doing this long enough to be like, there's definitely a basis of knowledge if you have not played above really high school. If you haven't played above high school, there's not a real basis of knowledge, because it's when they leave high school and they get to college and they're like, oh, this doesn't work anymore.
mm,
And then they go to pro ball and then the same, oh, this doesn't work anymore.
none of it works.
And so, like, if you don't even get to that level, you don't even know it doesn't work.
Yeah, yep, yep, yep. I think the I think the biggest thing that dear coaches that talk shit about your players changing their bat, okay?
Yeah.
There is an idea of there is an arrow and there is an Indian from a guy who shoots arrows almost for a fucking living. Right now, I'm not shooting because my bow's it's down right now. It's in maintenance, right? But it's more the idea of like there is an optimal length and weight distribution ratio to get your best accuracy and your best impact,
Hmm.
and that's a fucking fact,
Hmm.
right? I'm really candid with the F word today. I don't really care. But it's more about the idea of what does a pro have in that giant bag that says 12 Lindor at the top? It's probably the same model of bat, or he knows exactly how all of these models play, just like Tiger Woods did in his bag of
Hmm.
clubs. He's like, I know how the weight of my 3 wood is placed. I know exactly the angle of my driver and how long everything is, right? That's because the arrow mattered. Because if it didn't, Tiger would not care about any of that,
Yeah.
right? But and the same people that say it's not the arrow, it's the Indian, love when they get a new set of golf clubs, which is just the stupidest thing ever. So personally, for me, as a coach, I always tell my kids, once you find the bat that makes sense at this stage, sorry parents, right? Maybe by two, right? Right? Like I'm just saying that from the idea of if that works, and it doesn't have to be a metal bat. Typically, use the wood bat model, right? Because that's a lot more replaceable financially than two cat X's. That's ridiculous. Unless you're financially doing that, hell yeah, give him seven. But it's more the concept of he needs the most repeatable weapon possible
Hmm.
because that's really going to matter. Because what I've been talking about lately, like, been running some nasty two seams and cutters out of the machines, like to the point where guys are like, "Is that a sinker?" And I'm like, "I think," but all I can see is it's just doing this. I can't see because it's different when you're down at the end of the cage versus when you're
Yeah.
receiving the ball. It's just a little
Hmm.
different, right?
Hmm.
And so, like, I'm having to tell guys, like, why are you still trying to inside out a two seam away from you? Like that
Hmm.
doesn't even mechanically make sense. It's just not what's happening. And it's the idea of like, oh, well, I feel my bat is this way. It's like, why do you think you maybe need a little bit more end loaded, right? Because the idea of what if I have to get my hands away from me, right? You're not that strong of a guy, right? Or if you are big and strong, maybe you need something a little bit more hand loaded because it's like, I've got enough back here, but I need a little bit more whip in my hands so I can get that inside fastball and really just bat bro review, open up. That dude has one of the best open up, like,
Yeah.
I'm going to just slow pitch softball this pitch. But, like,
Yes,
you know
for
who
sure.
does that all the time? Venezuelans
Yeah.
and Dominicans and really good hitters that just Mark McGuire, the video that we talk about all the time. You watch his former derby, it's like he looks just like the bat review bro or bat bro
Yeah. Yeah.
reviews,
Yeah.
whatever the hell his name is. But that's what I've been talking to my guys about with from in terms of like the last, I'd say 48 hours, even 72 hours. It's like you guys are not changing what you're doing in your swing because you're so used to the idea of, well, I am looking one pitch, one zone. It's like, yeah, but you ever get that spidey sense where
Hmm.
you're just like, this son of a bitch is throwing me a fastball inside
Hmm.
here. I fucking know it. And
Hmm.
you get it. And then you have two options. You're either going to get stuck right at the shortstop because you refuse to open up and you hit this cute little line drive that may or may not get caught by the shortstop. Maybe it's a
Yeah.
single. It's
Little
cute.
little snap
Or
hook.
you can just unload and maybe you miss and you hook a missile foul or you blow it up into the gap. But it's more the idea of like, if you were to do that on the outside pitch, every coach says you're blowing up, you're opening up too much. It's like, yeah, but that ball is going to hit him in the chest. Like if he didn't open up, he was probably going to be in the dugout, right? So yeah. So there's just things that again parents don't understand, and even players don't understand if they haven't played at a high enough level to where it's like, have you ever seen somebody like stay inside out on a ball that's running away from them? And most of the kids will say no. And it's like, so why, like, what's happening?
Yeah.
So
Totally.
it's
Well,
more, yeah.
it's not enough sparring. Too much middles.
I've just been going right into the, or we, I can never get the actual name right. So I'm just going to shout out to Driveline, the Smash Factor balls. I don't know what the Rawlings versions are called. High flight, light flight, something. I just make those things move as fast as possible from as close as I can with as much movement. And I just say, figure it out.
Figure it out.
I almost stopped coaching the last 20 minutes of class, and I'm just doing this.
I love a good driving range session.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think there's especially with the new kids, there's a lot of parents where I'll
Mm-hmm.
just same idea. I'll just set up our stream for auto replay. I'll turn that on, and then
Mm-hmm.
once we get comfortable with what we're doing, then I'll just go, okay, here's your mini game, edge of the box 3, inside 1, get to 12. Let me know when you get there. And then,
Mm-hmm.
then you just kind of like mentally set a timer,
Mm-hmm.
and as they go, you can see, and really it'll break them if they can't do it, and then
Sure.
they'll either stay in there and try to finish the game, or
Sure.
if they finish fast, you can see that they want another version. All right, let's make it a little harder, you know? And so you can really develop the skill of accuracy inside of mini games with the correction, or with the understanding of being able to focus under pressure, right? And even if you're
Yeah.
creating it internally, which is what's happening, right? Like if you're in a big ball game, you understanding the scenario might actually make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
you know
Mm-hmm.
don't make a
I can second
mistake.
that.
you
Yeah.
know Mistake.
Right.
So that's where we really try to, intentionally, but them not being aware that we're making them mentally tough without them, because they're just playing mini games all the time. Or we had, like I said, we had a tournament this weekend. There were a couple kids that yesterday were doing like a little 50% day, and they're always throwing together, and they play games on every drill they do.
Mm-hmm.
Like lean back, they play a game. K drill, they play a game. Sideways walking, they play a game.
Mm-hmm.
Shuffles, they played a game. And then they went into leg lifts, and they were just working on their pitches. And like after like 2 or 3, I'm just standing there watching them. Still have a couple, they're 12, still have a couple arm timing issues and stuff, but like that's just
Right.
normal for them trying to feel it. But all they cared about was just, all right, dude, I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna beat you. And then it got like a little chippy, and then the
Yeah.
velo started jumping up a little bit, and then I had to, hey, we're playing. Wrong idea. We need to feel
Yeah.
good, not go
Yeah.
hard. We need easy reps
Yeah.
for strikes, you
Yeah.
know? Well, I, I'm not gonna let him sit here and throw 60 in my face. You're not wrong. Today doesn't
Yeah.
count. Today
Today
does
does
not
not
count.
count.
Today doesn't count. Saturday, Sunday counts. Let's wait till then. Why don't you get 60
Hmm.
then? Why don't you hit him with your in-game velo, none of your bullpen velo?
Oh, I heard are you familiar with Paul Stamets?
I think so.
He's the mushroom guy on Rogan, right?
Yeah.
And they did a study on like medicinal mushrooms in terms of coordination. So they actually had people just tap their finger onto their thumb and see how many times they could do it in 20 seconds, right? And I'm not going to talk about the study and all that, but they were talking about how most people in practice, even if you're trying to get it to the highest level of practice to mimic competition, or let's say if you're a violinist, like concert performance where the pressure's on, you're only going to get to about 90%.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You need that competition to get that extra 10% of there's the adrenaline, there's the I'm not going to let this dude beat me. I'm
Fear.
not going to make a mistake. Fear, dude, fear is so good.
Yeah.
Like I personally know I was horrified of getting jammed
Yeah.
because I played in the Midwest for 2.5 years, and you get jammed a couple times there, you're like, never again, never again, because you can't feel your hands.
Yeah.
It's 40 degrees in April, and
Yeah.
you got to catch, and you get
Mm-hmm.
jammed with a one-piece metal bat, dude. For anybody who's out there watching this, you know what I mean. It's
Yeah.
horrendous,
Yeah.
but that was fear. And you know who
Yeah.
got really good at pulling the ball? So it's more the idea of you play with that little bit of. I put that in the other day with like my kids. I was putting a two seam on them where it was like every once in a while, like it catches a seam kind of on the wheel, and it comes in and they go, oh, and I'm like, yeah, it's good for you, dude. Let your butthole pucker a little bit. Yeah, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. But that's more of again what you're talking about of like we don't need you to get to that 90% right now. Like how good can you be at like a 50 to 60%? Um, and here was another thing to go on what you're talking about with the version of the game, right? In Bleecker had a great piece of math that he used in terms of like where is the game going in terms of you fail 7 out of 10 times, right? You're going to be all right. It's like the game's harder than that. You need to let the kids recognize that. It's actually more like you get 1,600 pitches in a year. You swing at 800 because you're going to swing at 2 pitches per at bat. You see 4 pitches per at bat, swing at half of them. You're at 800 pitches. If you're Shohei Ohtani, one of the best hitters in the league, you're 40 for 800 in terms of hitting bombs,
Yeah.
right? And so when parents get frustrated at me, I hit them with that one, and they always kind of look at me like, did you do that math right?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that checks out. Like it 100% checks out." Because you could look at any big league. Look at Mike Trout. He probably averages 420 to 440 at bats a year. The big league average is 4 pitches, right? His strikeout record or his strikeout now is at 1,400, maybe 1,500. That's triple what Tony Gwynn was at. Triple, right? So it's a hard game, and Mike Trout is not bad at all, right? But then it shows you how good Tony Gwynn was, and also maybe how different the ball
Right.
was, right? Like what type of a ball was that, right? Like what are we doing
Right.
here, right? This is a crazy ass like different game.
Also
So
different fields too. Like, right, we had
way
faster in
different fields, dude.
the faster infields,
The
turf.
cement under the turf, like
Yeah.
way
That's
different game.
my favorite Pete Rose. My first book I ever actually like sat down and like bought it
I only
in
learned that
like
a year
high
ago.
school.
The cement under the turf thing. I learned that a year ago. I was
He
like, what?
he put that in his book that he knew he could
Genius.
collect more hits at home or in
Yeah,
certain ballparks,
yeah.
but if he played that game. So at home there's so many videos of him hitting just a top spin middle of nowhere anywhere on the field with a two-story ground ball that he's beaten out.
Oh my
You know?
God,
You know what
yes, yes.
I mean? And then if it made it in the
Yeah.
outfield and it's still super bouncy bally, then the center fielder's got to do something with that. Now it's a double,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know? And then he
Right.
talks about going to other places like Yankee Stadium where, left center is the hardest place to hit it out. And like all the pitchers throw you inside. So you have to do different shit. And then that's when he would
Right.
start bunting to
Right.
like move people around,
Mhm.
So there's
That guy
stories
knew where the wind was blowing at all times.
oh, for
Like no one
sure.
else was paying attention, but
No.
he's like, "Do you guys notice the wind's like just a tad more that way today?"
I've been telling everybody like he has an audiobook now of that version. It's a red cover.
What's that
But
book called?
it's Pete Rose. Let me look it up. It's Pete Rose something.
I mean,
Let me do
he and
the
Tony
dumb Google.
Gwynn figured more little tricks out for them to succeed. And it wasn't that they were
Yeah.
the Shoheis or the Aaron Judge. It was just the idea of they're like, I'm going to expose every loophole in this rule book
Yeah,
that I can.
for sure.
And it wasn't illegal.
Yep.
None of it was illegal. It was
Yeah.
all just like, you can do that? It's like, yeah, of course you can.
It's my
Yeah.
prison without bars is what it is.
Oh, what is, I mean, and then, hey, all I'm saying is 60 million is a lot of money. 19,000 is a lot of bets. I mean, that's 25 bets a day. That's a lot.
Did you
That's
see the
like, what
did
do you,
you see the did you see the thing on John Boy with he quoted the excerpt? Have you seen that or no? I'm gonna read it to you if you haven't.
well,
It's crazy.
I heard that like his bookie like went to Newport Beach apparently and like texted Ipe and was like, "Hey Ipe, I'm looking at victim A right now, which was Shohei. I'm about to walk up to him and say what up because you won't call me back." Oh my god, dude, panic button,
Hold on. Let me read it. I got it right here. Ready?
bro. Also,
And
Ipe
this
looks
is
like
how
a
you can
K-pop
tell
star.
because if so we're Eddie Bravo here, boys. Just know we're Eddie Bravo right now.
Tinfoil
Okay.
hat is
So
on.
if we're going, this might be a connection between the government, the Dodgers, and Shohei. So here we
That's
go.
all I'm
Pretty,
saying.
and this is on John Boy's podcast, and this is like everybody's like, oh my lord. Okay, so it's the title of this is pretty insane excerpt from the government's complaint against Ipe. Okay, Part A. On November 14th, 2022, Mazura messaged Bookmaker One stating, quote, I'm terrible at sports betting thing. Huh? Quote, LOL, dot, dot, dot. Any chance you can bump me again? Question mark. As you know, I don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about me not paying.
Whoa. Whoa.
On, yeah. And so that was November 14th. Okay. 2 weeks later, on December 9th, 2022, Mazura messaged Bookmaker One stating, can you bump me at least 200? I swear on my mom, this will be the last I ask before I pay it off once I get back. Once I get back to the States. Sorry for keep on asking. Bookmaker One responded on the same day stating, no problem, done. Merry Christmas.
Wow. Oh, oh, he brought his mom into it and
Yeah.
Shohei.
And you know what? There's a little bit, we don't know what's going on for real, right? But like, I can see how a machine obsessed of skill and technique like Shohei would not want to look at his bank account. I could understand that.
Here's
Hey,
where I just find just the smelliest suspicion where somebody is watching his bank account and
yeah,
somebody's going, hey, bro, do you have any odd investments that are going
yeah,
out every random fourth day?
right,
Right? Like,
totally.
that's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying he could have done any of it.
Yeah.
But for him to say I didn't know at this point is wackadoo,
Well,
right? Like,
and that's definitely one of those. So, that sounds like lawyer talk, right? Because if you always have to do the thing in a situation where if you were to put,
Barry Bonds
um,
never tested positive for steroids.
also never admitted it. So there,
And there's no
when you
proof
put
that,
exactly when you put it on paper and they have to go side by side, which is how judgments are
right,
made, right? There's no emotion or speech. They
right.
have to read the things side by side. Like that's why. That's
Even
why.
statistically, his jump wasn't that crazy.
Right.
Like, it made a lot of sense. It's just like, oh, he locked in for 3
Right.
years. Right? Like, because, I mean, yeah, 70's a lot, but like, he was so good. Like,
Yeah.
if you remove all of those years where he was big,
Yeah.
he's still at like a 500 club
Hey,
without any of
hey, hey. Old ball. Old ball.
that. Old ass ball
Old ball.
and big ass stadiums. And bro, he played in AT&T after all the mistakes. They didn't change the wind. They got the stadiums as big as it could be. Like, and he still said, "That's cute. You should have made it bigger."
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
I'm
still
gonna
gonna
hit
go
it
into the
further.
Cove. Yeah, I'm gonna
He
go into
was
the Cove.
insulted that they didn't make it bigger. He's like,
How
"Really?
dare you?
How dare you?" Like, I'm not even going to use a 33. I'm going to use a 32 because this is too easy.
Yeah.
God, I love him. I hate him, but I hate that he was a Giant. If he would have been a Pirate his whole career, I would have Barry Bonds jerseys. I would, 100%. But because he played for the Gigantes,
The Gigantes.
I can't do it. I love, dude, there's so many, like, Giants players that, like, because you grew up watching, the Comcast Sports Bay Area, right? Glenn Kuiper and Kruko, right? Bro, I grew up watching Matt Cain, Tim Lincecum, Barry Zito, Jonathan Sanchez, and Ryan Vogelsong. Like, all of those guys threw a no-hitter. Every single one of them, bro. That's crazy. And the Giants couldn't score more than 3 runs a game. Like, so these guys had to be dialed in every single day. And I still hate them. I still hate them so much. But I appreciate how great they are. Like,
Mm-hmm.
didn't Vogelsong play in like Korea? And then he came to the United
Yeah,
States
yeah,
to
yeah.
play like
He was a back
something
and forth.
like
I think
that.
it's Japan. Maybe I'm
Japan
pretty
or
sure it's Japan. Yeah,
Korea.
yeah,
He
yeah. One
went
of
to the
those. Yeah.
Asian League
Hmm.
after leaving, which is hard to come back. Like,
Right.
that's
Well, he
hard.
went and won a Cy Young over there. That's what happened.
Sorry.
Won a
And
Cy
then he like
Young.
had Charlie Morton
Yeah,
disease. I'm getting better and stronger as I get older.
yeah,
Is he still playing, by the way, Charlie Morton?
yeah. I just saw him start the other day with the Braves.
God, I love him. I
Yeah.
mean, he's the guy that we need where it's like, what's that 50-year-old doing in the boxing ring? Isn't that guy going to get hurt? It's like, you shouldn't spar
Well,
that guy.
all the nerds online too aren't looking at his follow through like it's not in plain sight either. So, just saying.
Uh, any college baseball takes? We got a couple more minutes
I
here.
was
Any
gonna say,
college baseball
yeah,
takes?
I know you got to get out of here.
I got to go
Really
choke some
enjoying
food, son.
Wheels. Really enjoying Wheels lately.
Dude, Wheels is
Um,
crushing it.
I really wish I could watch the Pac-12.
I know, dude.
That'd be nice.
It's still the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Oregon
Uh,
State's
um,
leadoff hitter, I forget that guy's name, but his swing and his legend and his biceps.
we got a kid and he's not really one of our. I mean, he's one of our guys that's definitely in high school, but he's been bouncing back and forth. But he's been playing the game beautifully. Like went to the Cape, went from CSUN, went to the Cape, from the Cape to USC. Now he's at USC. Now he's kind of the dude, and he's just a high spin heater, curve, cutter, change guy. He finally committed to like.
Mm.
It was funny. It took us a long time. Like he never thought his cutter was good because he couldn't see it move.
Oh,
And then finally he finally got around some coaches and some nerds that were like, no, this is a good pitch. You could throw that with this, you know?
yeah, yeah.
So I see that happen
I
all
get
the
that.
time.
Have you, dude? I mean, I told you to watch that Florida State game.
Yeah.
I don't want people to go watch it just because it was such a Sun Belt Conference places Big Ten as a Power Five. Who's in the Sun Belt? Is that Grant?
They're no, it's South Alabama
Is it
and
Southern Miss and whatnot
yeah,
as well?
exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that's Southern Miss is routinely in. No, you got to make a California school part of the big. Like,
And
it's got to
Voss, no,
be.
not even close because you don't even draw the same amount of fans. It's a money thing, dude.
Yeah,
You guys get
it's.
fucking 8 people at a game. They get
I could see Conference USA because they got that random like Houston and Tulane. Like they got some schools that are like in the middle of nowhere where people just are like. I think Coastal Carolina. I know they're in some. No, you're
well, if you go as a whole though, that's where it becomes a problem. It's like it's not just
right.
baseball; it's all the other sports. Like
Right.
none of the other sports can hang,
Right.
boss. So
That's why I was talking about like the idea of
yeah,
like you need a place like a Tulane where it's like, bro, this is a random. We are not denying, but do they have football and basketball
yeah,
attendance? Because
right.
if that was a part of it, why is Stanford going to the ACC? They are horrible in attendance.
Yes,
Stanford's awful.
Stanford's if like the vibe from the Florida State game on a Wednesday and Stanford comes to Tallahassee, like there's yeah.
I went to Stanford at a regional championship last year.
Mhm.
Maybe 1,000 people. Maybe, right? But also I will give a shout out to Coach Esquier, or I don't know how to say his name. Dave, whatever your name is. Stanford coach. It's a beautiful field, but dude, you guys literally have a prison of trees guarding the outfield.
And the lights.
I'm not hating because it's a beautiful field. It's
Picture
gorgeous.
lights.
But if you want people to come watch you play, you got to have some bleacher creatures out there. You got to have them, even though it's Stanford, okay? We all know Stanford has crazy parties. You guys are all smart, but when you throw back, because you got to get loose. Come on now. Come on now. We've all seen The
Well,
Social Network when
considering
Justin Timberlake was partying in Palo Alto.
considering they're big trees fans, I don't
They're
think they would cut them down to put
probably not.
stands
Here's an
up.
idea: tree houses as bleachers across the outfield. There you
Yeah,
go.
Peter Pan's just
Oh
rope
my
ladders from tree
that
to,
would be incredible.
yes,
Just
talk
like,
about
I
it.
mean, it would be like the Point Loma, but like of Northern California. It's like, come see the most spectacular
The
baseball
tree
field.
people are in the outfield.
God, and it would make sense. Bleeding Heart Liberal School. We're gonna live in the fucking trees.
There's like no outlets anywhere. It's just all
None.
just wood
Yeah,
and just
it's all wood.
nature made. Yeah.
But oddly, they have like Wi-Fi in like every tree. It's like amazing. Last thing before we go, there has been a influx of pitcher injuries, right? And I personally have no opinion on the matter because I don't throw enough to hurt my arm. So, as a guy who throws a lot, what do you think?
I, I think we are romanticizing injuries for the sake of clickbait. And I think that the opposite is happening more than people realize. I think there are a lot of people that are throwing hard that aren't getting hurt.
I agree.
Um, and then I also think there's other factors that then they're not even getting into, like I mentioned earlier, the follow through, but also like, what about how much you throw during spring training? Like if you show up and you're fine and you go through spring training and then you get to the first month of your season, I would reverse engineer from what I was doing and see why that was happening. And I see just, they're complaining about velo, but yet when you throw a bullpen in front of a track man and you tell the kid to make it an 80% pen, but yet you're evaluating him on the bullpen, like he's going to throw hard. He's going to do whatever he can do to put himself at the top of that leaderboard.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's interesting. And then, you know, I think that there's just a lack of understanding of how to actually survive a season and be good at a high level. Like that's information that, you know, you know, Maddox, Beckett, Smoltz, like there's all of these people that have pitched full 220 plus innings. And we're we're not looking at what they're doing. We're not talking at them, and a lot of them don't even want to give away the secrets. So, the advantages of the things it's interesting. I was thinking about this the other day about like how the European football clubs handle their players to Americans, and they don't like you're just like with the club 365 days a year. Like that's what you're doing. You live there in the off season, you're training there, you're working with the staff. If there's an outside independent guy, like a specific goalie coach or something, the team goes and
We
gets the
grab them.
guy and brings
Right.
him in. Hey, this guy's going to do a consult. Here's what we're going to do. You
Mm.
know, so it just seems like in America, the teams are guilty of using information for the good and for the bad. So like,
Correct.
I don't want to give you any information, and that's why you see all kinds of you know independent entourages to the organization. Like a lot of the
Correct.
guys that are on the high level show up wife, trainer, assistant, translator, whatever it is. Every people have groups that work for them, and it makes their lives easier so they can focus on the things that they do. So it's an interesting process on how things go by.
Agreed. Very well said. All right. Well, I have one last thing, and I've been saying it all year. Go watch some. I'm not even a Duke baseball fan. I'm a big fan of the ACC right now. I think Duke's going to win it all. Go watch your Clemson, your Florida State. Who else is in there? Wake Forest is ranked. Who else is ranked? North Carolina's ranked, right? Go watch all ACC baseball. That's what I want to sign off on. That's all.
Nice.
Thank you so
Yep.
much, John.
All right,
Great
buddy.
job today, dude.
Yeah, man. You too. Have a good one. See ya.
Later, guys.